Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Poland is being occupied, is ethnically and culturally occupied, or at least it is in the process of being occupied if it does not move swiftly. And that is, if a policy is good for a group, that means it should be good for another group as well. And if that's not the case, that means the policy benefits me and that will not benefit you. So, what am I talking about? Let me show you an article. I'm almost certain some of you will not figure out what the hell I'm trying to show you. New Voice of Ukraine. July 21st, 2025. I'm pretty sure the American public might not understand what the hell I'm using this article for. Ukrainian businesses take root in Poland. Now, for the American population, there's nothing wrong with that. Why? Because they're used to be told that diversity is their strength, and accepting more people like me, or even worse than me, is a good thing, because we're gonna take your resources, your ancestors' resources. I understand, yes, the Indians and all that. The Indians did not form countries. The United States of America was formed by a certain group, and we know exactly who formed that one. So in this case, Ukrainian businesses take root in Poland. What does it mean? I will explain. Let's read the first paragraph. Ukrainians, not Poles, Ukrainians, have registered over 29,000 companies in Poland. Poland is another country. Ukrainians are coming from a different country. Nearly half of these were established after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, according to July 21st report. Ukrainians established about 6% of the 208 and 200,000, so 200,008 new businesses in Poland over the past 3.5 years. Nearly 4,800 Ukrainian companies were registered in Poland, not Ukraine, in 2022, which is a third more than in 2021. The majority of these businesses are structured similarly to Ukrainian LLCs. You got it? The number of charitable organizations founded by Ukrainians have also grown significantly since 2028. They have created 486 foundations. You know what it is? This is 4 times more than before the start of the war. All right. Well, anything wrong with that? Well, let me show you the healthy side of Poland. Anti-immigration protests sweep Poland. Poles in scores of cities across the country took the streets to demand that the flow of illegal migrants be stemmed. Anti-immigration protests were held in around 80 cities on Saturday. According to local media, the largest demonstrations reportedly attracted around 3,000 people. All right, well, what does it mean? Let me tell you what that means. There will be some Ukrainians, ethnic Ukrainians, settling in another country, in Poland, because they are, because of the war and the Russians, the evil Russians. And they will always remember that they had to move out of their beloved country because of the evil Russians. And these, young people will have children, or already have children, and they will tell their children that it's the Russians who caused the misery of leaving their beloved land. And they might not return. But hey, we are here in Poland. We pretend to be Poles for a while because it's better than in the war-torn Ukraine. And after a while, the children of these refugees, the Ukrainian refugees, will climb on the social ladder. And they will become politicians, maybe billionaires, maybe millionaires. And they will never forget that they are over there because of the evil Russians. Therefore, they will have a problem with the Russians wherever they're going to meet a Russian. That's a healthy, normal feeling. I mean, they caused me to leave my beloved country. They're my enemy. And after that, these people will have children. And they will tell their children the same story. We are here because of the evil Russians. And their children, with the wealth accumulated by the children of the emigres or the refugees, will probably ascend even higher. And they will become, defense ministers, billionaires, politicians, and they will always hate the Russians. And they will use the Polish nation, once they get in power in Poland, to do something to the Russians. Got it? That's what's going to happen. A clear example, United States of America accepting everybody with all their miseries from their own countries brought into the United States of America and creating problems in this beautiful country. That is against that, pro that, anti that, for countries that they left because they thought they were shitty. They left them not because they thought they were great. Some of them are refugees. I give them that. But still, they left because that's bad over there. They came to a different country. They shouldn't have picked the United States of America. They could have gone to Bangladesh. Why didn't you go to Bangladesh? I tell you why. Because it's better here than Bangladesh. Got that? That's the naked truth. Now, let me show you how the Ukrainians view certain things. Which, if you think that the Ukrainians will be good Poles, listen to this. Ukrainska Pravda. This is not a Russian media outlet. This is a Ukrainian media outlet. Ukraine pushes for foreign cities to be called by Ukrainian names in official use. Saturday, 19th July of 2019. You know what it is? And it's a Ukrainian right there with blue eyes. Okay. So, Ukraine pushes for foreign cities to be called by Ukrainian names in official use. So, let's say we have Krakow. And let's say we're going to have a big enclave of Ukrainians. And let's say the mayor of Krakow, of the Polish city, would be a Ukrainian. And will be administrated by the Ukrainians to a certain extent. Don't you think that Warsaw will be called, not Warsaw, Krakow, will be called, Brakowrinsky or something, or who knows, Vereshchuk? They can change that, and just like that, because they will never forget where they come from, and they will have this identity, and good for them. The problem is they will have the identity in another country that opened their arms and accepted them because they were in bad shape. Let me read you further from this article. This is the Ukrainian round-headed foreign minister again. Just a figurehead. He's not in charge. Yermak is in charge, and Zhimihal. Ukraine Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha has announced that the state intends to actively introduce Ukrainian names for foreign toponyms in official use. You got it? So they will change. If it's Washington, D.C., they will call it Washington, and that's it. Sybiha recounted that they recently received a note from a foreign country addressing Ukraine on a specific issue, and I'm quoting, "I started reading until I got to the word Kiev. I didn't read any further. I gave the following instruction. Return this without consideration and accept no further communications. Study the spelling of the names of Ukrainian cities first, and only then renew the assurance of your deep respect." Well, that's first topic. Let's stop with the other one. When I went to college in that country called Romania, I've been told that certain names, it's okay to, or certain, names and names of certain people or topographic locations and so on, is okay to call them though in your native language. And one of these examples I can give you is Germany. It's easy. Or I can give you Italy, if you want. So for instance, Germany, the Germans call it Deutschland. We in Romania, we call it Germania. I think the Russians also call it Germania. Other people call it, Alemania. The Italians call the Germans Tedesco. Now, which one is right? Which one is right? Remember, for the same term. Now, I'm not calling the Germans Deutschlanders, because in Romanian we call them Germans, Germani, or other names. You know what I mean? But Nemți, or the same as the Russian, I think they also call it Nemți. So the same thing. We call him Nemți, we call him Germani, we don't call him Deutsche. And the Germans do not call the Romanians Români. Romanish, Romanian, Romanians, different kind of names. So what do you expect? We call the English people Englesi. We don't call them, I know, Anglo, or we call them whatever English. So you have to understand that. Now this guy said, you have to refer to our city as Kyiv. But we are going to change your names the way we feel like. Right here. The minister stressed that the names of Ukrainian cities should follow Ukrainian transliteration. Kiev, Odessa, Lviv, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, Chernobyl. Sibiha noted that Ukraine has made significant strides in promoting the correct spelling of its place names globally, with leading international media, governments, and organizations contributing to the effort. Turkey is not Turkey, it's just, they want it to be called Turkey. He added that the next major step is to go back to using traditional Ukrainian names for foreign cities. And I'm going to give you some examples. Berestia is Brest. Brest-Litovsk, remember that pact? Bilhorod instead of Belgorod. This is Russian. Dobrochin instead of Debrecen. That's a city in Ukraine. I've been there. And so on. So you understand what's going on here? Sibiha noted that this right is enshrined in the law, Ukrainian law, on the functioning of Ukrainian as the state language. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs plans to start professional, public, and interdepartmental discussions in order to systematize the use of Ukrainian names for foreign toponyms. That is, when they're going to get in power in Poland, they will change the names of your cities. I guarantee you that. Now, I know that you are babooned, some of you are babooned into believing that diversity is your freedom. But for instance, in my family, I want to be one member of my family in charge of the family. I don't want you to be in charge of my family. As I'm pretty sure you, and it's a healthy feeling, you should not be okay with me or any member of my family being in charge of your family, because it's yours, as this is mine. But some enemies of ours fight that. Remember, they have a Jewish state. We don't have a Romanian state. We don't have a Polish state. We have multiculturalism. We have diversity. You remember? So, you understand what I'm talking about here? The problem is when you're going to have these enclaves, they will climb. Like, for instance, in Canada, in the United States of America, you have all kind of people with resentment against the Russians. Historical, from their great-grandfathers, hating Russia. And they ascended to the position of, let's say, Victoria Nuland, or Anthony Blinken, or Soros, or Cynthia Freeland in Canada, and others. These guys were born in the area of Ukraine, Romania, Russia. That's where they were born. They hate Russia, and they use the countries they live in to destroy Russia for their ancestors' pains. So be careful, Poland. You might get fucked up by the Russians when this guy's gonna get in charge of you, change your topographical names, and whatever you got, maybe they're gonna call Sobietsky Sobietchuk. Your Sobietsky will be Sobietchuk. Make it Ukrainian a little bit. Why? They will vote, and they will outvote you. Why? Because they outbreeded you on your taxes. You paid for their outbreeding you. Got it? The same United States of America. These guys pay for those guys to come and have more children than you have. And after a while, there will be more than you will be. And they will tell you that, I don't know, maybe child marriage is okay, maybe eating dogs is okay, maybe other things are okay. Why? Because in their cultures, where they come from, that's acceptable. But hey, they came here. You didn't go over there. Good luck, my Polish friends. I think you screw yourself, and we have people with big hearts and a national identity still in Poland. The problem is the government have to work with the national identity of Poland, not with the so-called diversity and the inclusion and all that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. That doesn't happen in Israel. Remember that one. Just study it. For an example, Israel doesn't have an Iranian prime minister or Palestinian chief of Mossad. They have all people born outside of Israel, just so you know, in Poland and in Romania and Latvia and other countries. Why? Well, you know. Such a bullshit. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.